Hi, my name is Eric, and I thought today's video we just kind of do a basic of what tools you need to work on stuff. And today we're going to focus more on like the trimmers, chainsaws, and the smaller stuff that are handy to have. So stay tuned. Alright, so welcome back. My name is Eric, and today we're going to be talking about what are the basic tools needed to really, even for you guys that are doing it at home, there's certain things you should have to do upkeep on your equipment. And I would have to say the first thing would be a compression tester. You know, get a decent one, but this one here will fit just about every one. It's got a one and then up step. Or if you went to Harbor Freight, you can get the deluxe version, which has all the adapters and so forth. But they also sell one that's similar to this one here that isn't a lot of money, and you really need it, because if you don't know if you got compression, you could be wasting your whole time doing everything else and for naught, right? So the first thing we're always going to do is we're going to do a compression check on that engine. So we really need a compression tester, right? But before we need that compression tester, we need something to take the spark plugs out. And they come in different sizes, but I like a 3/8 with extension, and I have, I think, 5 or 6 different spark plug adapters to where I can put it sockets and pop it off. The other thing that you're gonna be handy to have is when you're gapping your spark plugs. I know a lot of guys, they just throw a spark plug in. They ask for a certain gap, and there's a reason behind it, so you can get fire from the center post up to your little hook. And if it's too tight, you can't get any spark. And if it's too far apart, it can't travel that far. So having the right gap on your plug is important. And you can get them. I mean, this is a Sears one. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Harbor Freight has them too, the different sizes. The next thing after we do a compression test is we're going to do a spark test. So again, this is a Harbor Freight, and it just simply plugs into the boot onto the spark plug, and then this thing goes into the boot from the coil. And as you pull it over, this will light up, and the brighter the spark, the better, right? Again, this is like $6, $5-6 for that. When working on these, the T27 Torque, I got this on eBay. I think there was a pack of 2 of them for $9.95. And I also bought on eBay, this is the kit that has all the different torques and different specialty ends and stuff, but they aren't long enough a lot of times to get down in deep. So these are handy to have. These you can put onto your impact driver. Let me shut these up. Alright, so once we know we have compression above 90 or better, and we have a good spark, what's next? Want to make sure it's got good fresh fuel in it. And a lot of times, if you're getting ready to put it away for the winter and the fall, I even suggest you drain it and then start it up and let it run itself out. You know, gas does not have a life span like it used to. You're lucky to get a month, 2 months out of it. And you should be using premium non-ethanol in your small engines. I know the newer ones are made to run on it, but if you got an older unit, chainsaws and stuff, stick with the premium. All right, and the other thing is, this is the carburetor adjustment tools. Now, if your carburetor comes where it's adjustable, this is where they come in handy. Some are coming through where they're non-adjustable, so you don't need this because it's either it works or it doesn't work, right? You're going to want a handy set of screwdrivers, and these are both Harbor Freight. You can get this style or like this style for less than 20 bucks, and they got all the different adapters. Now, I like using my impact driver for a lot of things, but when it comes to taking the screws out, like the primer bulbs and the carburetor, I like to do it by hand because you will strip them out fast with this. Now, another thing, when it comes to getting your shop set up with the right stuff, the right supplies, I did kind of a copy of what Jason did, in that I have a box that is just 2-stroke carburetor, primer bulbs, fuel line, older carburetors that are parts, miscellaneous. But what I would suggest that you do is you don't need to go out and buy a great big roll of fuel line. A lot of sellers like myself that are online are selling it by the foot. You can buy so many feet, and just make sure that you say something to the seller. What we do is, if you come and you buy 3 1-foot pieces, we send you 1 3-foot piece, a little over 3 foot. Some sellers have already got it pre-cut, so they end up sending you 3 cut pieces. I like it where you can get it 3 to 4 foot at a time, and then you could cut it to whatever length you need, and you still have all that left, right? Instead of having, just a little bit left, just non-usable. So just make sure the seller knows it. And they do come in different sizes, depending on what you're working on. All right, so if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to shoot me any questions that you may have. Carburetor cleaner, you're going to want to have that because you're going to be using it quite a bit. And when it comes to like this trimmer, it's the FS55RC. When you're working with me, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to check compression, right? So we need to get that plug out. Boop's right in my way. And this is a good time to take a look at your plug. How is it gapped? Is the gap too wide, too narrow? Is it all carbon built up? Is it, wet from showing where maybe it's flooding out? But you want to take a good look at your spark plugs to see what they look like. And this is just one of the customers. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are lining up. We're starting into our busiest season. I finished up doing the oil change on the snowblower yesterday, so that's all ready to go back. But you want to go ahead and we really need to see where this engine is at for compression. And like I said, if you jump and start working on the carburetor or this or that, you're wasting your time if the compression is not there. So just screw it on hand tight. It's got a rubber seal, and if you over tighten it, you'll just smash the rubber. You want to make sure it's zeroed out. Let me get some of this stuff off the table. Now what I kind of do is I do a visual, right? One of the things that I noticed with this is the handle. So we're gonna have to order a new handle so that we can depress so that we can get the trigger function. But all we're going for right now is compression. And we're rated at 100, just over 100. So we're good there. Didn't take me just a minute to find out if I have compression or not. This gives me reasons to keep going. So once you have the compression, let's put the plug back in. And I've seen machines that ran last year that sat all winter and then end up with no compression. Or if you find your machine is hard to start looking at compression. So the next thing we want is spark, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to mount this right onto the spark plug that's there. Make sure she's on good. And then we want to take this end and go right into the boot. So that, let me get this tipped here where I can handle it. Alright, so what we're looking for is to see if that lights up. And it does, she's got good fire. Pop that off. And the other thing I'll add when it comes to, looking for good fire is if the switch is in the off position, you're not going to get fire. And if you have a faulty switch here, that could be giving you the no spark. So you want to take, and if it's not firing, try moving the on and off switch. Flick it a couple times to see if it makes a difference. This style, it locks in for start, locks out for out. Most of them are just a little push button where you can click it and it rocks itself back into the run position. But before you go jump into buying a new coil and this and that, just be aware that your switch could be giving you the issues. Now, you say this didn't have any fuel in it, so it must be clogged, put some fuel in it. So we have on this is your choke. And you got a primer bulb and you got an on and off switch. Now I is for run and 0 is off. Most of them just have a push where you can just shut it off and it kicks back into the run position. This one doesn't. You have to physically take it from one direction to the other. So we're going to take and put that into the choke. So I'm going to go ahead and swap the plug out. Alright, so I just got a brand new and GK. Alright, so she's still having some problems. Let's go ahead and start a tear down on it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the carburetor off and let it soak in the ultrasonic cleaner for maybe half an hour or so. Starting to get late today, so we'll have to continue this, but the main theme of today's video anyways is having the proper tools, and that's going to save you. And you don't have to, you know, sell your oldest child, your oldest born, to be able to afford it either. To have your basic of stuff just to have handy in your little work area, you could probably do it for under 50 bucks. If you want some extras that make life easier, you know, you can pay a little bit more. But how often are you going to use it? If you're a mechanic or you're repairing things on a regular basis and you're trying to make a living at it or get started nights and weekends, okay, I can see that. But if you're just a do-it-yourselfer on the weekends, you don't need all the extra stuff. But you do need a test light for spark, compression tester, a way to get the plugs on and off. You're going to want a Torque T27. I would recommend a spark plug gap tool, a good set of a good set of screwdrivers. You know, you haven't got to go break the bank to do it. And I like my 1/4 inch metric and SAE, and I also like the carburetor adjustment tools that you can buy as a kit on Amazon. You're not going to get as many as I've got in there because I've got like 3 or 4 different kits, but that should get you started. And if you always think, let me do compression first, fire second, fuel third, air fourth, you can never go wrong. Now with this here, I would imagine the carburetor is gunked up, so we're going to take it apart, and I'll see if I can't do a separate video for you doing on that. But on that note, you guys have a great day, and thanks so much for watching. That's all you got to do, guys.